Welcome to Rush Hour. This is part 2 of episode 1. On day 1, we travel from Miami to Orlando to Tallahassee. The route to Orlando is I-95 north to Florida Route 91 to Orlando. We begin our day in Miami, Florida. It was a warm and partly cloudy day with a light breeze. To find the most accurate weather, we use what is called a METAR, or Meteorological Terminal Air Report, which is what pilots use to gather information of the area they're flying in. After seeing all the Art Deco architecture on Ocean Boulevard, we made our way up north, leaving Miami at 10:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Miami is the only major American city founded by a woman. Her name was Julia Tuttle. The sand in Miami Beach is imported from the Bahamas or other beaches found in the Caribbean. The state of Florida recently spent $11.5 million on importing sand to restore the shoreline. Miami is the only city in the United States that is bordered by two national parks, Everglades National Park on the west and Biscayne National Park on the east. Following real traffic patterns, the drive up to Orlando took around 3 hours and 32 minutes, and because it's a simulated trip not taken by us physically, in the downtime we're able to get some much needed college work done. Because college. Once we got to Orlando, which was at 2:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I opened up the tool we use to determine the location of our generation, mapcrunch.com. Once we zoom in on the city of our desire, it will drop us in a random location within the city, which in this case was on Interstate 4 just outside of downtown Orlando. Orlando is home to more than 100 lakes in its 119 square mile radius, the most unique lake being Lake Eola, which is actually a massive sinkhole that is 80 feet at its deepest point. In 1991, Orlando worked out a deal to have producer Joel Silver blow up the old City Hall to help fund and make room for the new and current one, nestled on the corner of Orange Avenue and South Street. The blowing up of this old building is the opening scene to Lethal Weapon 3. Although Disney World is the most popular tourist destination in Orlando, it is not the first theme park to open. Instead, this goes to Gatorland, which opened in 1949, while the Magic Kingdom wasn't home to Orlando until 1971. We left Orlando at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and after a 3-hour and 25-minute drive, we made it to the final stop of the day, Florida's capital, Tallahassee. Getting in at 6:25 p.m., which is now 2 hours after it gets dark because we still do daylight savings for some reason, MapCrunch dropped the pin right in front of the Florida Historic Capitol Museum. In Tallahassee, Capitol Complex, located right in downtown, is the third tallest Capitol building in the United States. Tallahassee is a very art-rich city for having a fairly small population. There are an accumulated 40-plus art galleries and museums throughout the city and its outskirts. Tallahassee has Florida's most educated population, with over half of its residents having a bachelor's degree or higher. Shout out to you, Florida man. After headed in for the night at our virtual hotel, we're finished with day 1, and this destination completes the first day of our artificial road trip across America. This is a reminder that in our videos we'll be both using real images and images drawn by artificial intelligence. Any image drawn by artificial intelligence will be specified, and will most likely be used when showing cities, points of interest, or buildings, where any real photos or videos will be shown when explaining facts about the locations we choose. Starting off day 2, it's a very beautiful and clear morning in Tallahassee, Florida. Leaving Tallahassee at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the day was meant to consist of a fairly straightforward drive towards New Orleans, where we'd conclude this routinely short day. However, by all accounts of college classes getting in the way, aka being prioritized, we ended up taking a brief stop in the city of Pensacola, Florida. This stop was a rather worthwhile excuse to view more of the beauty that Florida doesn't tend to promote to the rest of the world. Anyway, because it's only Pensacola, we only have one fact. Also, we weren't exactly planning to stop here, so here's the fact. Located in Florida's Panhandle, Pensacola is surrounded by over 50 miles of coastline, which includes the emerald green Gulf of Mexico waters and the crystal clear Bay Area. That's it. That's all Pensacola has to offer. After 2 hours of enjoying the beauty in Pensacola, we kept on our journey on Interstate 10 to our final stop of the day, New Orleans, Louisiana. Our arrival time to New Orleans was 5:46 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is also an indicator that as we move through the United States, we will be using the appropriate time zones as we move throughout them. Anyways, MapCrunch dropped us off on Poydras Street in downtown New Orleans, a great spot to look at downtown. One of the most famous traditions in New Orleans being Mardi Gras, a 1 to 3 month stretch of the year where the streets come alive with music and art, is believed to have dated as far back as the mid-1800s, with the first Mardi Gras being rumored to be held in 1857. The Mississippi River that runs right through New Orleans is a crucial waterway for residents and touring. The river contains 25% of known fish species in the entire United States, with over 60 species of mussels inhabiting the river. Back during the Civil War, New Orleans was the largest Confederate city until May 1, 1862, when the Union Army gained the city during the capture of New Orleans. With an expected slow day turning into an adventure in an unplanned destination, we conclude day 2. Our journey is already proving to be more than planned, and we can't wait to see what other places we end up visiting. On day 3, we travel from New Orleans to San Antonio. Another beautiful and clear day as we wake in New Orleans to prepare for the journey to San Antonio. The original plan was to make a drive just to Houston. However, that would have left us with a 10-hour drive to the next destination, El Paso. So, to prioritize time efficiency, we remade our final destination to be San Antonio. Leaving New Orleans at 10:19 a.m. Central Standard Time kicks us off for day 3. Heading westbound on Interstate 10, we reach our first of the 2 destinations, Houston, Texas, at 3:31 p.m. Central Standard Time. Houston is the only major city in the United States that doesn't have land use zoning laws, meaning anything can be built anywhere. Houston is home to the largest medical center in the world, the Texas Medical Center, which contains over 60 medicine-related institutions, hosting over 10 million patients annually. The city is named after Sam Houston, military commander and politician who led Texas's battle of independence from Mexico. He was the first president of the Texas Republic. After spending roughly an hour in Houston checking out sites and what I can only assume the AI believes to be is the Toyota Center, we continue on track to San Antonio, where day 3 will close. Making an arrival time in San Antonio at 7:07 p.m. Central Standard Time, MapQuest dropped us off the San Antonio Riverwalk, overlooking the distant Thompson San Antonio Hotel. Did you know San Antonio is home to America's second oldest park? This being the San Pedro Park, which became a public park in 1852. This park is so old that during the Civil War, it was a prisoner of war camp. Another accomplishing day of beautiful sights, and there's still so many more to come. Day 3 comes to a close as our second straight day of unplanned destinations. This virtual road trip is really starting to get planned like a real one. I guess that's part of the fun. Day 4. San Antonio to Phoenix. Another clear morning for us in the city of San Antonio, where we kick off our journey to the next major city, El Paso. Starting off day 4 bright and early at 6:05 a.m. Central Standard Time, we begin our 8-hour drive to El Paso. Our time efficiency saved us roughly 2 hours, so that's something at least. With no unplanned stops and clean drive forward, we arrived in El Paso at 1:01 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Now, if you do the math, you might say, hey, you got there at 1 p.m. That's only 7 hours from when you started. And to that, I'd say we've now hit the Mountain Time Zone, which is an hour earlier than Central. A reminder again that we will be using time zones specific to the areas we reach. It's confusing sometimes, but we'll explain this to the best of our ability. Having only spent 30 minutes in El Paso since we have one more major stop before the end of the day, we didn't get to explore some of the historical landmarks that reside there. Some being El Paso's Holocaust Museum, which happens to be the only bilingual Holocaust museum, or the Amigo Air Show, which is one of El Paso's premier events and is ranked as one of the top 10 air shows in the country. One stop that would have taken us a lot of our time is the largest urban park in the nation, the Franklin Mountains State Park, which is more than 24,000 acres in size and is completely within city limits. Leaving El Paso at 1:33 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, heading westbound on Interstate 10, we continue on to our next major stop, Tucson, Arizona. Arriving in Tucson at 5:28 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we have just under 2 hours left of driving until we hit the final stop of the day, Phoenix, Arizona. Spending only a short amount of time in Tucson, almost like El Paso, we again missed out on a few sites that definitely caught our attention. Some being one of the largest airplane boneyards in the world, the Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, storing over 3,000 aircraft and nearly 6,000 engines. One of the largest rock shows in the country, which was not around at the time of this trip, the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show, which attracts around 50,000 people annually. This convention has exhibited the most dazzling rocks in existence, like the Hope Diamond and the Logan Sapphire. And to our immediate dismay, we were not able to search for one of the only 2 non-captive jaguars known to reside in the United States. One of them, nicknamed El Jefe, who was discovered in 2011 and can be found stalking the Santa Rita Mountains just 25 miles south of the city. Anyways, another short stop in another beautiful city where we didn't have the time to admire its true beauty. Making a departure time of 6:01 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we're back on Interstate 10, Now to Phoenix, where day 4 will close. After a short drive in comparison to the rest we've made this day, we arrived in Phoenix, Arizona at 7:36 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Phoenix is a particularly important stop on this road trip for one reason above the others. We'll let you figure that one out. The narrator of Rush Hour, me, was born there. Oh, okay, not in Phoenix, in Glendale, but it's pretty much all the exact same thing there. Anyways, how Phoenix is the only state capital to have a population of more than 1 million residents, with over 1.6 million as of 2021. It's the most populous state capital in the United States, and that Phoenix is one of only 13 other cities in the United States to have a franchise of all 4 professional major sports leagues. These being the Arizona Coyotes for the NHL, the Arizona Diamondbacks for Major League Baseball, the Phoenix Suns for the NBA, and the Arizona Cardinals, NFL. A very busy day full of the most stops to date comes to a close, and we sleep so soundly after day 4. This once again proves to us that a virtual road trip can be just as exhausting as a real one. Except, you're not really going anywhere, so not really. Day 5. Phoenix to Los Angeles. We opened day 5 on a frigid day in Phoenix, Arizona. A nice toasty 43 degrees Fahrenheit. Today is the easiest day yet, with a single drive straight to Los Angeles, where we'll end the first half of this American road trip. Leaving Phoenix at 9:01 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, we have a simple day ahead of us. Back on Interstate 10, which has carried our journey across the country since we hit Tallahassee, Florida. With an arrival time of 12:28 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we reached the final destination of the day, Los Angeles, California. With so much time left in the day, we're able to look at some great and popular areas and learn some history about this stellar city and how it came to be. For instance, before Los Angeles was to be associated with the most film industry, there was another industry that built this glorious city. That was the oil industry. And by 1930, Los Angeles produced a quarter of the world's oil. The iconic Hollywood sign Los Angeles is frequently associated with, built in 1923, originally read Hollywoodland. The sign was originally intended to advertise a segregated housing development, and it was kept this way until 1949, when the land portion of the sign was removed. Santa Monica Pier is a location as iconic as it gets. The Pacific Wheel is what truly needs to be memorialized. Did you know that this gem is the first and only solar-powered Ferris wheel in the world? I didn't, until now. With such a short day, we've had time to reflect on the long journey we've made, fully across the country through an AI's perspective. It's going perfectly to plan, and as with any good plan, at some points we've had to improvise. Our final destination for next week, and the conclusion to episode 1 of Rush Hour, is New York City. Until then, this has been Rush Hour, and we'll see you around.